Today, at work, on my lunch break, I heard one of my workmates say, "What have you got there then?" And I thought to myself, the English language is such a lazy fucking language. Rather than say, "What have?" we say, "Waff." We don't say, "What have you got there then?" and enunciate our words. We say, "Waff." And I thought, lazy bastard. Until I realised that this has been happening since humanity's first recorded language. And the Sumerians were doing this way back in the day. There's many examples in Sumerian of phonological.
I feel like wolves about Venice, get Venice,
Yep, what I meant to say was phonological assimilation. There's many examples of it in Sumerian, mainly with vowel assimilation. But I want to talk about one specific nuance in this video, and that's with the ventive prefix mu and the middle marker ba, because it's not very obvious and it can be quite confusing if you don't know about it. And this occurs when the subject and the indirect object are one and the same. And we see it in this sentence. He came to the temple. But if we were to expand this is what we would be looking at, with phonological assimilation happening here. The assimilation here is really happening between mu and ba. The b is assimilating to the m and the u is assimilating to the a, now being expressed by the new sign ma. And it's still being accompanied by the vocalic prefix e, only being expressed with a syllable sign attached to the m auslaut, rather than a single vowel sign e3. The vocalic prefix e doesn't hold much grammatical function, but it is used with dynamic verbs rather than stative verbs. Examples of dynamic verbs: jump, run, talk, write, watch, play, swim, or in the case of this sentence, to come or to go. So if we were to go through this sentence properly from start to finish, if we first expand everything, this is actually what we're looking at. Remembering not to forget about the absolutive marker on the end, because that holds grammatical function too. Next, translate all the base values and make sense of the grammatical functions, identify the grammatical functions. So first off, we have A2, this is temple, and it's attached to the directive case marker. The directive case marker marks the subject of a transitive verb when the transitive verb is in the inanimate. Then we have E. E is the vocalic prefix that is used with dynamic verbs. Then we have the ventive prefix, which is assimilating to the following middle prefix ba, because ba is what's usually used with inanimate transitive verbs. So it's marking the third person inanimate or the third person non-human, and this is the indirect object cross-referencing the subject because they're one and the same. Next in line is the verbal stem yen, meaning to come or to go. And the fluidity of this verb being able to mean to come or to go is the reason in the first place why we have the assimilation of mu and ba. Because if you remember from my last video, mu is telling us that the action of this verb is heading towards the origin. So we know it's saying came and not went. So that's why we needed the assimilation. That's why we needed to put mu in there to inform us which way the action of the verb is pointing. And finally, the absolutive marker on the end, the zeromorph, is marking the direct object, and it's the third person in the animate or the third person human. Okay then, let's make some sense out of it. Temple plus directive, we can directly translate that as to the temple. Mu is telling us that the action of the verb is pointing towards the origin. We can directly translate this as here. So ba is cross-referencing the subject, and it's in the third person non-human, so it's to it. Yen, the verbal base, meaning to come or to go, but we know that it's saying come because of the ventive prefix mu, so it's actually came. Then finally, third person direct object human, so it's he. So first of all, my direct translation for this would be to the temple, he came to it here. And finally, a further translation, or a modern translation I like to call this, is simply he came to the temple.